Hey, everybody. It's about that time. We are about to go live with Head to Head with Brian Parker. Starts at 6:05. Hope you can join us. You can join us in our live chat, where you'll be able to speak to the panel through the chat box. Or if you would like to join the actual show, you can do that as well. Just let us know by sending us a DM, and we will actually get you onto the show. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started with our 5-minute countdown, and we'll see you on the other side.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma.
This is ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma, gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are here today with our panel. Where the hell's the panel? I don't know where the panel is, but we do have one of our panelists, the most important panel member, in my opinion, Ms. Lori Parker. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Mr. Parker. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So listen, before we get started, let's pay the bills. Thank all of our sponsors. Thank everybody that's watching from all over the place. You could be seeing us from LinkedIn, Facebook Live, or even YouTube. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are watching, continue to like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribe, as we want to get more and more viewers to be able to see the show. The show airs live every Thursday at 6 p.m. or 6:05-ish after the 5-minute countdown. And then it will appear on our Roku channel at 11 o'clock the following day. For y'all that don't know that, or if you're a Cowboys fan, the day after Thursday is Friday. And then it will also be on our live demand after that. So you'll be able to catch the show anytime. If you haven't added InPower TV to your Roku channel, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you, but please add that. Just do a search. Look for the letter N, the word power, all together, one word. Add that to one of your channels on Roku. That way, not only do you get head-to-head, you also get head-to-head sports and plenty of other programming that we have, everything from talk shows, podcasts, short films, comedy, all kinds of things to be able to check out. Also, if you would subscribe to YouTube, that would be great. InPower TV is on YouTube as well. So anytime we go live or put anything out, you'll get the little bell that will show you that that we have gone live. If you are on Facebook, please join our page. It's at InPower TV Parker Media Group. So I think those are everything there. And before we get started, also, if you would like to advertise on our channel, you have a service, a product, or an event that you have going on and you would like others to know about it and you would like to advertise, please let us know. We'll put together something. We'll air it as many times as possible, just like we're going to do with this from our friends at Plumbers, Electricians, and Beyond. So check this out. Damn, I really feel like I'm in a movie.
Well, it made me want to actually become a master plumber, be like a job number 3.
you need bigger hands for that.
You know what? Don't talk about my hands. My hands are beautiful. Beautiful.
But they couldn't hold a pipe wrench, so it's not gonna work.
Absolutely. It just needs to be smaller. That's all.
Yeah. Anyway, so looks like we did get another panelist to drive in, and looks like we have Mr. CJ. How about him, Jones? How about him?
How about him? They doing good so far. I'm good.
That's it.
That's it. I'm not good. I'm not. I don't get excited. It's too early in the season. I told you I'm a realist.
So the other 97%
that are running around through the streets right now, and like they just want to Super Bowl.
And woohoo!
That's them.
Okay.
I can't tell them how to be a fan.
Okay.
I can't tell them how to be a fan.
True that.
I can tell me how to be a fan.
See,
y'all listen. Look,
I just don't
look at here, man. Listen, I know my boys, I know my fans. We are a rowdy bunch.
Yes, you are. Absolutely.
And whether it's win, lose, or draw, you gonna hear them boys regardless. I mean, sometimes they go so hard, even in a loss. Sometimes I question it, and I'm like, "Did we win?" They're like, "No, we lost." And I'm like,
"Well, see, I get the exact opposite. When y'all lose,
I can put y'all around.
I can put y'all on the side.
I don't know who you're around. I don't know who you're around. But listen,
man,
sometimes I have to question who actually won because they don't care. It's the spirit of the team, and it's because it's so many, and we are everywhere. I mean,
yes, you are.
You can get 2 people in one place, and you'll think the whole place is full because of the energy that a Cowboy fan just. It's like an explosion. Personally, I love it because I mean, by me being 5'5", I have an explosive personality. So I love.
So you're like a firecracker.
More or less like C4. But yeah, that's the idea. Look at Brian. I'm more or less like C4. But potato,
So CJ, I appreciate what you're saying about the for Cowboys fans being all in a room, and I actually brought this up to Brian. I actually had an doctor's appointment, and I took an Uber, and my Uber driver was
Cowboy fan.
Absolutely, car was decorated.
Are you okay, Lori? Are you all right? Do you need a pair of medics?
So I was actually having a very conversation with the driver, who I think he portrayed himself as a real fan, and he wasn't, as the other Cowboy fans that are like running from the rafters, like you would have thought this is the Super Bowl on the win, but he was a little bit more subdued. And I was just like, well, why? I mean, aren't you happy? I mean, your team did really well, and all of that. But he was just kind of like, kind of just calling the game, and then talking about Jerry Jones and all of that stuff. So it was just a very interesting car ride. But I know in his car, and he did actually pull it out, there was the flag, Cowboys flag. It was pulled out. So just let me know.
Yeah, but I mean, again, guys, bro, look, I've been a fan. Like I said, I'm not like one of those fly-by-nights. Obviously, I'm not one of those situational fans, is what I like to call them now. Depends on the situation of the team. Even in my own fan page, even in my own Cowboy fan page on Facebook, You know, you see them flip flop back and forth. It all depends on who played well and who didn't play well. And you're like, brother, are you a fan or you're not? Because if you're a true fan of your own team, you're going to be a fan of the team in the good, the bad, and the indifferent. It's not going to matter because you chose that team to be loyal to. Or you could not have been chosen to be loyal at all and just say, hey, you know what? I just like football. I like your colors. I like this. I like that. But if you're going to sit up there and criticize and, you know, be ready to fire your coach one game and be ready to cheer him on the next, that's not a real fan. That's not even it's not a real fan. You can have all the paraphernalia you want, and you can scream on the wins and then cry on the lose, but that's not a real fan. A real fan is they're just loyal to the brand, to the mascot, to the colors, whatever that drew you to that team. Because the game is what I love. I'm a football fan. I happen to be loyal to the Cowboys and not Jerry Jones. If you notice that every time you even say his name, my eyes go like, oh my God, here we go again.
All of y'all do that.
Yeah. So
see, and the reason y'all have to do that is because
it's too much.
He's injected himself as a general manager and the owner, and that's normally reserved to totally different people. So Jerry Jones, the owner, you appreciate the fact that he bought the franchise. You appreciate the fact that over the years that he's had it, it's become the most valuable franchise out there. So he has done a lot of things in that regard. But then from a day-to-day management and operations standpoint, he has put his finger on everything because he has the role of general manager. So he has all the personnel decisions, spending decisions. Don't nobody get paid.
Interviews,
unless Jared says so.
Come and goes, right.
So sometimes he's not, you know, there's a reason that there's a separation of duties. And it's not just to sit there and have another layer of bureaucracy and payroll. It's to have checks and balances. So that one person doesn't wield so much power that they can sometimes be their own worst enemy because they're not getting the right kind of counsel from outside people or other voices in the room. When you're the owner and general manager, you're limiting the amount of voices in the room when it's time to make decisions because you think that the only voice that's necessary is your own. That's why people tire of Jera. Same reason that they were tiring of Daniel Snyder up in Washington because of the same thing. So when you have owners like that, you know, kind of would be like Michael Jordan not having Mitch Kupchak run the Charlotte Hornets, but Mike says, hey, I played in the NBA long enough. I know how to run a team. I'm going to be the GM. And it would be an effing disaster if he did that. So, Mike, I know you watch the show. I know you love us, but please don't be a GM. We love you, though. Keep them Jordans coming, though.
Yeah. Please throttle back. Please throttle back.
Yeah.
So.
Oops, sorry, I brought my subject up too quick.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Let's get cranking into it. It is currently Infrastructure Week. Or who knows what's going to happen? But if anybody's been under the rock, our politicians that we pay upwards of $180,000 a year are bickering amongst themselves to determine if we are worthy enough to be able to get some much needed relief and programs for people. And now, as recently as today, one of the holdouts on the Democrat side, Mr. Joe Manchin. Now, it has always been funny. The man's last name is Manchin, and even though it isn't spelled like the actual mansion, like a building, it sounds just like it. So somebody has a name of Manchin. That's already an issue. Joe Manchin is a unicorn in a lot of ways because he is a Democrat from a Republican blood red state that went for Donald Trump by over 30 points. So it is heavily Republican. And he's always been coined as the only Democrat that could win in the state of West Virginia. And I would probably agree with that. That's more than likely true. However, what's going on right now is that there is currently two bills trying to float through Congress. One was done at the behest of Joe Manchin, where he did not want to ram through a Democrat-only infrastructure bill and fought like hell to say, hey, y'all, let's get our Republican friends to come along. And the Republican friends said, hell no, we ain't coming. And then he finally found about 10 of them. Actually, it ended up being 19 to agree to a light infrastructure package that covered basic infrastructure that we have grown up knowing what infrastructure is. And the thing about Congress or the thing about society is that some people are traditionalists. Whatever something has been is what it will always be, and it never can adapt and change with the current times. And infrastructure is one of them. So when you say infrastructure to a Republican, what that means is road, bridges, highways, electrical grids, and things of that nature. That's all infrastructure is. Yeah. Well, more to our progressives, Democrats, liberals, folks like that, infrastructure, they try to expand the definition of the word infrastructure. What they call all those things I just named would be what you would call hard infrastructure. But what they've decided is hey, infrastructure is really more than the bridges that we cross, the airplanes that we fly on, the trains that we ride on, the buses, the terminals, the ports, all those things. Yes, is that infrastructure? Absolutely. But you know what? People are infrastructure too, because people are what keeps the economy flowing. So we need to be able to take care of, we talk about bridges that are need repair. We're talking about human infrastructure that needs repair too.
Right.
We're talking about different sects that we want to invest in. Infrastructure was always one of those things that it didn't matter if Democrats and Republicans were fighting with each other. There were a few things that could bring them together. One, naming a post office. For some reason, you can get a 99 to 0, 100 to 0 vote on naming a damn post office after somebody. That they can do. When it comes to wanting to spend $80 billion on our defense contract, which I got to see what the exact amount is, but it's something.
Oh God! I knew you was going to say. I knew you was going to say that.
100%. Everybody kumbaya and high fiving.
Because we love security. We love security.
No, excuse my French. We like to blow shit up.
Security.
That's security. It ain't about security. It's about
I know.
It's about walking around with the big stick. We like big and bad. And
of course.
It's sad that we will unwaveringly spend all this money on wars. We will spend this money on defense contracts. We will spend this money on just having the biggest military in the world, and nobody will bat an eye. It doesn't matter how much it is. You never hear any arguments back and forth about
how we been the biggest thing.
Don't nobody say how we gonna pay for it. They go ahead and do it. Seem like too when they want to build prisons, don't nobody ask how they're gonna pay for it either.
No, and it's only until recently, and what I mean by recently, I say within the last 5 to 10 years, that people really start to get a true insight as to even how these prisons are even funded or how they come about, and that's only because someone finally said, or at least acted like they actually gave a crap as to what was going on in these prisons, mainly the prison rapes and things like that. So then that's how that bush began to get shaken. Because other than that, we would have left it alone.
Well, it's funny because it's not funny, but things are all tied together.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is people focus on one thing and they don't realize what the cause of it is. So sometimes the cause of incarcerations are people feel like the opportunities for them have dried up and they resort to things that they shouldn't necessarily do. So when we can fill the communities with more opportunities, with more programs and stuff like that, that can potentially influence somebody for making those kinds of decisions. But when you feel helpless, you feel useless, you're staring at your kids, you can't feed them, and you start thinking about, hey, do I need to do some underhanded things to be able to survive? I'm not justifying why people do wrong things, but I'm telling you that a lot of times it seems like a system is designed to facilitate a lot more of those things. You know, we will sit there and we'll sit there and spend money on the prisons, but we won't sit there and work on ways to keep people out of prison.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, we'll invest in the destination, but we ain't going to invest in what got you there to begin with.
No, because that cuts into the money that these private owners.
And that's exactly right. A lot of them are private. A lot of them are private, and they have government subsidies that basically pay them to open up these facilities and everything.
Right.
So it's
then
so
they
funny.
get write-offs and stuff like that, and tax breaks.
So now we have two bills. One that was a bipartisan, so that we could bring 19 Republicans along to say that we did something together. See, we showed them Washington can work. It's not all about we're in their corner and they're in their corner. We proved them wrong. Ha ha ha. We can work together.
No, that's called Dog and Pony Show.
It really is. It's called dressing up the pig, but it's still a pig. Because you knew in order to do this, an agreement was made among all 50 Democrats that, hey, we're going to do this, but then the things that we can't agree on in a bipartisan way, we're going to put in a separate infrastructure bill that will have to pass through the process known as reconciliation. Because right now, most bills in Congress, in the Senate, require not only a +1 majority, which would be 50+1, but it requires a 60 vote super majority to basically get most things passed, except for things that have been carved out in the past, such as Supreme Court nominations and judges and things like that. Those used to fall under the filibuster too, but depending on what side of the aisle was in power, they started carving certain things out, which is now why people are like, well, then why can't we carve out voting rights? Why can't we carve out these kind of things so that we don't have to keep waiting for a supermajority, or the minority now has the ability to basically stop in its tracks any legislation from the party that won power. So you got a Democratic Senate, you got a Democratic House, you got a Democratic White House, but yet none of the president's goals and agenda can get passed because you would still need 10 Republicans in the Senate to come along with it and say, yes, we're going to break from our party and give you a win. Right now, giving you a win is political suicide because they're afraid that if they give you a win, then they could lose their job in the next election primary cycle. So everything now is a political calculation. I really want to help you, but if I do it, I'm done. They're going to find some Trumpy, crazy jackass to come in and take the job away from me. And I kind of like this plus job. And plus, my voting record will become skewed. So if I want a cushy lobbyist job after this job, I can't really help you either because it's not going to be politically expedient. So those are the reasons that Republicans don't want to get on board. The problem right now is that we have Democrats that don't want to get on board with other Democrats because some of them like to have cameras in front of them all the damn time. Some of them are straight up media whores because they want the attention. They want everybody to look at them. And they know that if they go ahead and go along just to get along, nobody will even remember who the hell they are. You would not, most of the time, if I asked you right now, CJ, who is, name a senator from Rhode Island? Can you name the federal senator from Ohio, from Rhode Island?
No, sir, I cannot.
No, I probably can't. Can you name the federal senator from Idaho?
No, I cannot.
Okay. Can you name one from Arizona?
No.
Can't name her.
Isn't that Semester? What's her name? Sinema. There we go.
Kyrsten Sinema. See, most people can't name senators. Hell, you probably don't even know one from your state, much less the one from a different state. Do you know the ones from your state?
Yes, Tom Tillis.
Yeah, we know Tom Tillis. And I don't know who his running partner or would be his what are they called whenever they're right next to the governor? The deputy governor or something like that.
So you have a senator and then there's a junior senator.
Right. And I don't even know who he is. He or she is.
Isn't it Burr?
Burr. I would have to look it up to confirm, but I think it is.
Okay. So let me give you another example.
Okay.
Raphael Warnock, John Ossoff. What state?
Now Georgia. That's below us. Yeah, that's Georgia.
Now, the only reason that you know that is because they were in a heavily contended runoff election that Donald Trump basically gave them because he told everybody to stay the hell away because the elections were rigged.
Uh-huh.
You know Nancy Pelosi is from California. You know?
Yeah. We know that because she's constantly in the media.
That's my point. So there are 100 senators, but you might know at most 5.
4 to 5.
And that's because they go in, they do their job, they keep their head down. They're not on all the Sunday shows. They're not constantly in your face. But there is no way in the living hell that you ain't heard of Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, especially over the last 2 months, because of the fact that they've commanded so much media presence around them. Where to me, and maybe it's just to me, it seems like that's more important to them than actually getting anything done. And the thing that pisses me off about that is that getting something done means affecting people's lives. You going there and getting nothing done affects people's lives too. So when you don't get anything done, that affects people's lives. So Joe Manchin finally comes out today in front of the media. We already knew he was against it. And we already knew that Joe Manchin is a moderate Democrat, whatever the hell that is these days. And we knew that he wasn't going to be for Green New Deals and clean energy, especially in a state that still sends people down into the mine shafts to pull out some dirty coal. We knew he wasn't going to be for all of that. But now he's talking about, well, you know, my number, they want 3.5 trillion. I'm good at 1.5. And even with the 1.5, he's talking about, and that's only if we make sure that we do means testing. So y'all understand means testing?
No, I do not. Please break that down. So by the way, it is to answer our own local question, it is Richard Burr.
Richard Burr and Tom Tillis.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and break that down.
So basically the idea behind means testing is back in not too long ago, the state of North Carolina only wanted to give unemployment insurance to people that were means tested. And one of the means testing that they wanted to use was you'd have to come in and take a drug test.
Oh.
And if you were positive, you wouldn't get your unemployment insurance. So what they're trying to basically do with means testing with some of these programs is to attach criteria to it to say, well, you probably do deserve it, but you're going to have to show us that you've been trying to find work. You got to show us that you've done this or you've done that. You got to go through a bunch of hoops to prove that you really deserve it.
Is it kind of like NC Works?
What's that?
Is that kind of like the program that we have set up here in our own state called NC Works, where you have to go in so often and say, hey, I applied here. Whatever. That's what they're trying to do, like across the board.
Yes, but to a certain extent, a little bit more than that. Because I have no problem if you want unemployment benefits. Yes, you should be trying to get a job.
Yes,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If somebody had to pay taxes and work more than one job, I'll never have a problem with that. But you have to be careful with that because it can become a slippery slope. Is it just, hey, can you prove that you've been trying to find a job? Or are you going to have to prove other things? So they got to be really, really careful with that. Trying to isolate people. First and foremost, I don't know how millionaires try to figure out if we're worthy of getting crumbs.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you're qualified to really tell people that live paycheck to paycheck whether they deserve certain programs, because you're so freaking disconnected from reality. How are you in any position to tell me?
I guess say, yeah, and not to mention all the hookups and stuff that they get simply because they are rich.
I'm glad you said that, because you know when they passed the PPP, did they do means testing?
No, they did not.
When they gave tax cuts, when they did those tax cuts for the rich and dropped their percentage down to 21%, did they do means testing, or did they just cut all the SOBs?
No, they just cut it.
They just went ahead and cut that check, bro.
It's funny
and it
how
was not a problem.
It's funny how the people with the most, you don't care to means test them, but it's the ones that are just getting by or just barely getting by. You want to make them perform.
They're trying to cheat the system.
Absolutely.
You worried about waste. You worried about people fraudulently getting benefits that they don't deserve. Yet you got companies and corporations that pay zero taxes. You got companies and corporations that pay very little taxes. We pay more taxes than a lot of the biggest corporations.
The common folk.
You know, Jeff Bezos can sit there and fly damn near to the moon if he want to and not pay a nickel in tax. You ain't worried about how he getting through them tax loopholes, but don't let me pay my taxes. You garnishing, you calling, you messing up my credit, all kinds of stuff.
We're gonna shut you down seriously. And now now they have it to the point they'll actually take your license because they're gonna get that money from you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Let me miss a child support payment and see what happens.
Yeah, the first thing they're gonna do is shut your license down.
Absolutely.
So it's funny how, you know, you'll fund the military billions and billions of dollars. Right? The $3.5 trillion package is being vilified because people, number one, are looking at the amount and not what it's actually doing.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, that's a lot of money. If I had $3.5 trillion personally, yeah, that's a lot of money. But like most things when they do budgets, it's $3.5 trillion over a 10-year period. So you divide that up by a yearly basis, and that's way less than we spend on the military every single year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But now that's too much.
Yeah.
But see, that's
and those budgets go through immediately.
No
question. Without question, without hesitation. Without it.
None.
Yeah.
Speaking of the military. I don't know if you all had a chance to watch the senator, or I guess the House representative from Tennessee, who was grilling the general about Afghanistan and about how the people of
that fool. I saw the highlights a little bit, but go ahead.
Wait a minute. What you talking? Say that again, Lori. What you talking about?
So I'm talking about, I think her name is Senator Marshburn. She's
no. You're talking about Marsha Blackburn.
Marsha Blackburn. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. I apologize. So
it's okay. It's like I said, most people don't know all these senators. The fact that I know as many as I do is actually kind of crazy. But go ahead.
So when I was watching her, the Senate committees that was actually questioning General Milley about the Afghanistan. Milley. I'm just messing up people's names today.
It's all good. That's what I'm here for.
It's okay.
So when she was questioning him about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and during this she was posturing about the people of Tennessee, and that that it was against the people of Tennessee, and that the withdrawal, like her whole stance. And I was like, why are you posturing for your people, but you then, let's say, for some other medical health benefits that you just kind of shut down, but for the people of Tennessee, Afghanistan, and all the way that we were withdrawn from Afghanistan is a travesty. But this goes on to your point of the have these senators or who are just want to sit here and have a whole bunch of TV time, because her whole entire question and answer session was crazy.
So the Senate basically appoints different committees, whether they're over foreign policy, defense, budgeting, all those kind of, they have different committee members, and they get so many Republicans, so many senators. And what happens is you have a chair, and then you have a co-chair, and the co-chair is of the party that's in the minority. And what they do is they go back and forth. They all get 5 minutes to ask questions. Now, what happens is this. Most of the time, when you are able to see these hearings on camera, that's when it's a circus. The most beneficial thing, and it's sad to say this, the most beneficial things happen when it's a closed door session. And normally it's closed door because there is some confidential classified information that's being given that cannot be divulged to the public. Most of the other hearings are open to the public. And when they know that it is 10 o'clock in the morning and that hearing just started, this is how they get their name out there. They sit there and they use those 5 minutes basically sometimes to filibuster something,
try to shine, right,
or drive a certain narrative in. And that's what it's for. It's not for anybody in that room. It's for all the eyeballs watching that TV.
Has nothing to do with that meeting.
It ain't. She didn't ask Nan one of them questions because she gave a damn about leaving Afghanistan. Well, she might not care about leaving Afghanistan.
No, she don't.
She was talking about for the military that was in from on certain bases that were actually part of the mission, and that it was travesty. But she was posturing, and it was just.
Well, she was posturing because
she was posturing for her
General Milley, Lloyd Austin are appointees of Joe Biden. So just because they have a stench of Joe Biden on them, they have the nerve to have been appointed by Joe Biden. It doesn't matter if Milley sat there, flew in a Black Hawk copter and saved 10 Afghan kids in his hands, sat him in the copter and flew away. He could have done that.
Right.
But because Joe Biden appointed him, why didn't you get 20 of them?
Exactly.
Why didn't you get 30? It would have been good enough no matter what. It wouldn't have mattered.
In any extraction, and sometimes I share this with just people in general, and like most brothers in arms, brothers and sisters in arms, we understand this whenever we go out to these combat zones. The problem is never the entry. It is always the exit. And that's even during peacetime. So imagine whenever we have war going on, an actual war, or what we like to say nowadays, conflict, because we can't stand the word war because that's a trigger word. So anytime we have conflict, guys, any exit is always the most dangerous. So the only thing that these politicians are doing is taking something that and not to water it down, because more than likely the probability of you having casualties, it is raised regardless. But then when you got politicians that know that something is going to be a natural byproduct of that, they are politicizing it for their party and their party only. They don't care as to who lost their lives, who got left behind, and all this other stuff. They don't really care about that. Half of them couldn't even tell you what the situation is or what it's about. So, but as the general public, we'll sit up there, we'll watch Fox News, we'll watch CNN, we'll watch MSNBC, and we'll be like, ooh, like they know what's really going. No, they don't. The network is doing that for their ratings, and the politicians are doing it for them jockeying for positions for how they want to be voted on. And what about they was really concerned? No, they were not. They can give a flip-flop about any of that. Sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about. It's just you stating a point.
Well, it's always about money, right? So for a lot of our Republicans, and hold on, let me see. I know we got some okay. Oh, those are for me. Sorry, I saw some comments. It's always about following the money, right? Because for a lot of Republicans, their objection was the fact of leaving in the first place. But it was funny because their Orange Julius leader was the one that initiated the whole thing. Mm-hmm.
They seem to forget that he said.
They don't forget. It's willing amnesia, if it's even that. They know who initiated it. Now, of course, they couldn't criticize him for it because they were like, "Hey, he's just saying it. It didn't actually happen on his watch." So sometimes it's just easier to say, "Well, we'll keep our head down. We ain't gonna say nothing." But now that all Joe Biden is doing is fulfilling the agreement, and see, their whole thing is as well. Just because Donald Trump agreed to withdraw doesn't mean you had to do it. You could have sat there and turned it back.
Listen, anyway, there's always a better way to do something too. And and I caught that beat. I'm trying not to cuss, sorry. I caught that BS whenever, they love to go back and forth with shifting blame here and there, who started, who didn't, all this other stuff. There's always going to be that transition of operation there. Okay. One president is going to start it. And then when the other president takes it over, he's either going to get the credit or he's going to get the crap about it. That's the balance, guys. One person gets the credit while the other person gets the crap. Think about how the nation was whenever Bush Jr. had left us in just like with this big old headache. Well, all that transferred over to the Obama administration. You remember? And how, Obama ain't nothing and all this other stuff. Well, it really wasn't his mess. He was cleaning it up. And then about time the effects of Obama's policies kicked in, who was getting the credit? Trump. You remember? Because if you went to people and you asked them about, what do you like? Do you like the Affordable Care Act or do you like the Obamacare? And they said, oh, well, I like that Affordable Care Act. Well, did you realize that that's the same thing?
No.
But I wanted to ask, so regardless of who is in power, whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans,
okay,
either side is going to act out and not decide to help move the government or not take a centrist view. Because if the Republicans are in, then the Democrats are going to stand up and say, nope, we're not moving. We're not going to do anything else. Now, usually they are in the minority. So even though they may be saying that or making this show, which could look like they're just trying to make a united front. But just as the Republicans are doing right now, they're just standing and saying, hands off, I'm good. So actually, my question is to both you and to CJ, will we ever have effective government if everybody, depending on who's in power, is going to just stop everything and we can never get anything done? So we'll just have
because you're always going to have that bratty attitude, Lori. You're always going to have that bratty attitude when it comes to our Senate. Because when it comes to exactly,
hell no,
exactly.
You supposed to say hell no, hell no.
This particular one's a hell to the no. Simply because of the immaturity of the parties, and that's on both sides. Thank you. No. And hence the reason why they're always trying to jock for who has most seats, because whoever has most seats, it doesn't matter who sits in that presidential seat. they're going to sit back and be like, no, because mine didn't win.
Well, Lori, to answer your question, really, it's just come down to this. Power corrupts. And the more power people have, the more power they want, and the less willing they are to let it go. The only thing that's going to ever really, really control this, because it's just going to continue to get worse, is going to take some people to have a whole lot of courage to sit there and change the way some things have been set in the past. What I mean by that is this. If I decided I wanted to run for Congress, there's no limits to how many times I can run. There's no limits to how many terms I can have. Well, Brian, you always bring up term limits. Why is that such a bad thing? Well, it's the same reason as why a president can only serve 2 terms at total 8 years. The House of Representatives have to go through elections every 2 years. So many go every certain 2 years, so that you're constantly changing out or having a certain amount of representatives elected every 2 years. In the U.S. Senate, they get 6-year terms. So you hear about these senators having their 6th term. That's 36 effing years.
Yeah.
So when you've been serving that long, the only thing that matters to you is winning the next election. Right. What do I got to do to stay my tail in this seat? Whose ass am I going to have to kiss to stay in this seat? And here's the other thing that everybody that's listening, because the mainstream media will not say this to you. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, you're Libertarian, whatever, most of them are corrupt. Follow daggum money and you'll figure out why they do what they do. They always talk about, if you ever listen to Congress folks speak, and they say certain things that is really just a cliche, like the American people. Half of these SOBs don't even know who the American people are. The American people for them ain't the same people that you thinking about. They're not the people that you see at the grocery store. They're not the same people that you see at the schools. They're not the same people that you just see in everyday life, just trying to make a living and trying to make it by. When they say the American people, they're talking about donors. They're talking about people that actually fund their campaign. Because folks like you and me, we ain't writing them big checks to these political campaigns. They're doing it for their donors. If their donors tell them to jump, they say how high. Period. Point blank in the story.
Because I need that money, baby. I need that money.
So all these people right now trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with Kyrsten Sinema. Nothing. She's getting paid. I mean, they act like, well, we just can't figure her out. You know, she's not even giving explanations. Yeah, because how is she going to come on camera and tell you that in between me going back and forth to the White House and letting Joe Biden wine and dine me, I'm also going to campaign events to people that want me to vote no against this infrastructure bill. And as they're saying, now, Sinema, we want you to vote no, okay? Is that all right? Yeah, it's a big secret. She against it.
How much is your no worth?
Oh,
how much is your no worth?
You know, for a lot of them, it's all about the next campaign. And
because we're gonna get you to we're gonna have to get you to say no.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is your vote for sale? Yes, right. All of them votes
That's
are for
all
sale.
It is. They're all just political salesmen.
Do y'all know why Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House?
I don't know why.
Okay. So what I just said, right, was follow the money, right?
Right.
Who is the biggest, one of the biggest Democratic fundraisers in the Democratic Party?
Well, they say it's her.
It is her.
They say it is her.
So when she's raising funds, she may not always just be raising them just for her campaign. She is also raising it for the Democratic National Committee that oversees all of the Democrats, putting money into different areas that need help and stuff like that. So she does fundraisers for the DNC, and she is one of the top, if not the top, fundraiser that is actively in Congress. Now, you can have Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, folks like that that are not currently in politics to do fundraisers as well. But actually somebody that breathes Congress every single day, she is one of their fundraisers. That's why she's Speaker of the House, period. Ain't no other reason.
So with all of this that you're talking about, so is it even to deign to start talking about, well, maybe there should be campaign finance laws to even lessen the money train? Or
there's always talks about it.
They've introduced that, but it keeps getting shot down by both sides. Because
think about it. If they really moved on it, what are you affecting? You are affecting someone's money. What they don't want you to mess with, Lori. I don't want you to mess with my money.
And they don't want you to even disclose who you're getting these funds from. See, senators,
what do they call it? The black money is what they call it.
Dark money, yeah.
Dark money, black money.
Yeah. Well, let's not do colorism. No, I'm just kidding. But because I like to say that I'm dark but not black. So
you're so
work with me. And I got some money, but
okay, that don't make no sense.
Don't worry about it.
No, I have to worry about it because I look at you every day. Every day.
Then what you should be called, my dear, is very lucky and fortunate.
I'm extremely lucky and blessed. But however,
you black. I'm dark. I'm dark, but I'm not black.
You're black.
No, I'm not black. Anyway, you're black.
Okay.
No, I'm mocha.
But yeah. Anyway, but yeah, there's so much dark money out there, and there's a lot of folks that, when you think about, say, for instance, like AOC, when you think about Ilhan Omar, when you think about Rashida Tlaib, when you think about Pramila Jayapal, when you think about progressives like that, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, when you think about folks like that, they raise a lot of small donations. They're able to do that. Right. When you look at more of your centrist Democrats and some of your conservative Republicans, they can't raise money like that. They have to turn to big donors. Joe Biden had to turn to big donors. He couldn't go to the same wells that Pete Buttigieg could go. He couldn't go to the same wells that Kamala Harris could go to. He had to expand his donor base because he wasn't going to get the Bernie Sanders donors that are just, like you said, just chipping in a couple of bucks. And that's what he would get. Everybody can't fundraise off of people just donating a couple of bucks. Some of them have to go after these corporate sponsors. But listen, when you go after these corporate sponsors, they're not giving you that money just because they like you. You're going to have to pay that off in one way or another.
There's going to be a return on that.
Exactly. You are their horse. When they send you to DC and they come calling, you going to pick up that phone because the reason that you're there has a lot to do with them. And that's all it is. For instance, which U.S. senator has benefited the most from dirty coal?
Senator Manchin.
Joe Manchin. He's in West Virginia. They have mines. They still did. Who's always against renewable energy? Joe Manchin. Why? Because that would, in his mind,
that affects his money.
Yeah, because he's invested into coal. So if you now if you say, okay, we're going to start to get rid of coal and move more towards clean energy. Stop digging out of the ground. Stop pulling oil. That's why you'll never get Texas senators to go with that either. When they sit there wanting to set up oil fields all over the place, and you got progressives talking about, no, we need to preserve our natural resources and stuff like that. We need to come up with hybrid stuff. We need to come up with green energy and things like windmills and solar power. That don't pay off like oil.
No,
it saves the environment, but screw the environment. I can only live for so long. I want this check. This check is for today, y'all. They want the money. All the politicians make decisions based off of money. Now, maybe you do get some idealistic ones that think that they can come in and make a change, and then they realize that as soon as they come into office, all their aides, everybody around them is talking about is running for re-election. You ain't been in there for 20 days, and they already talking about you running for the next time. Mm-hmm. And the only
based way on the movie from Head of State.
Yeah, and right, and
that Head of State has a lot, even though it's satire, that it had a lot of truths in there.
You know, CJ, it's funny you said that. I was actually going to do a show one time and break down the satire that's in the movie Head of State, because you're right.
So I'm not the only one that.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You know, one of the parts that always sat there and got on my nerves about that was when the guy would always say, "God bless America," and nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Yeah. And you know what? There's a lot of Republicans out there that's really what they think. That's because they have this sense of American exceptionalism. Not to jump back for a minute, but the whole thing with Afghanistan, a lot of them did not want to come out of Afghanistan, not because they were worried about the Afghans or us leaving our partners behind and anything like that. It's because they're emboldened to military contractors. Mm-hmm. You know, it's funny when we do a war, we'll go blow up a country, right? We'll blow up their bridges, we'll blow up their airports, we'll level a bunch of buildings. And then we'll bring our asses over there and try to build it all back up.
The way that we want to see it.
After we blew it up. We'll rebuild the airport, we'll rebuild the roads, we'll rebuild the bridges, we'll rebuild buildings and everything else. Well, who do you think the government is sending over there to do that? All these contractors.
Yep.
Well, these contractors have lobbyists that sit at Capitol Hill all the time and say, "Hey, Senator, can I talk to you for a minute?" They go in their offices, they visit them. I represent construction company. So the next time y'all want to blow up some stuff over in Afghanistan, give me a call. I'll give you a good deal. It's,
they don't care about and connected with that, what's interwoven in that is that people are just not seeing.
They don't get it. Okay, the nation building.
You have real people with real lives that had real families that actually was living and breathing just like you and me. You sacrificed them for your money.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. People got outraged because Donald Trump called military suckers and losers. Well, Congress been treating our military like suckers and losers for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, ever since the word war.
They send them over there to die. Yet when you look at their stock portfolios, when you look at how they've benefited from defense contractors and stuff like that, well, Trump is just stupid enough to say it. But they've treated our military like that forever. They use them as pawns in their ads. Yes, I support the military. No, you support starting a bunch of shit and then sending young folks over there to defend it. That's what you supporting. That's two totally different things. But that's what they do. They all they cared about is, because you got a lot of war hawks. Lindsey Graham all upset about that. I never agreed with Trump about that. Of course you didn't, because you and John McCain love and Joe Lieberman loved sitting there railing about staying over here and occupying this. And their plan was never to leave Afghanistan, ever. Joe Biden sat there and said, "You know what? We have tried to get out of that place for the last 4 administrations, and nobody has done it. And I refuse to let another administration sit there and talk about it like it's a talking point and never do anything about it. I'm going to run on it. I'm going to get all the military families to be like, yeah, absolutely, amen." Mm-hmm. Then I get in office and you don't hear nothing else about it. Because that happens so many times. Well, what happens is that a lot of times those defense contractors will start saying, "Hey, you ain't going to do that because we've been paying you. And you're gonna do what we need you to do. You're going to go over there and you're going to keep, now you can pull some forces back and make it look like you're making these little token moves, but you're not going to do a full withdrawal. Here's the other thing too. Americans are so full of crap. We think every war we go in, we lose. I mean, we win. I'm sorry.
No.
Freudian slip. We think every time we go to war, we win. We think we G.I. Joe. We gonna run in something, we gonna shoot it up, and we gonna come out winning. Everybody thinking about George Bush, mission accomplished, all that bull crap, all this American exceptionalism. We the best country in the world. Can't nobody beat us. Vietnam. We good. We can do this, we can do that. World War II. Well, we the baddest and everything else. They don't never think about the fact that, hey, y'all, war is ugly. War is bad. I don't even really know if you can say anybody wins in war.
Nobody
but
does.
I damn sure know that we did not win this war. So when you have to walk away with your tail between your legs, it ain't gonna look pretty. It's gonna look the way that it looked.
And it don't matter who the
my problem
is.
was this, CJ. Why the hell are so many Americans living in Afghanistan if America is such a great country?
Because that's where the contractual money was. Listen, it goes back to your politics. Show me the money, and that's where I'll be. Listen, even as a non-active member of the military, and I had one of the most coolest jobs it was, military police officer. I still could have signed up with anybody from, well, I don't know who they are now, but they used to be called Blackwater, because that's who your contractual military police was at one point. Like once you leave active duty, you could join up with Blackwater and doing the same job that I did before, except for I will be actually getting paid. And I mean paid to be over there. Two of my buddies, we were all active duty. We were all military police. The first thing that they did was follow the money. And so they'll put you up in housing. They'll get you set up and everything. And you're living nice over there because what are we doing? We're doing the same jobs that we did before, which is standing posts, roving, checking IDs, maybe holding down the embassy or something. But this time it's actually worth the money versus whenever you were active duty or whenever you were reserve. Because mind you, reserve is just a part-time of what an active duty member does. So their checks is half of that. So imagine you get to do the exact same job you're doing right now, okay? Except for we're going to triple your paycheck because that's contract. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get them over there. And that's why they want to stay.
So, and I mean, but again, it's all about dollars. And I don't understand when the mainstream media has a senator on a talk show, George Stephanopoulos, Chuck Todd, any of these folks on these Sunday shows, Chris Wallace, why aren't you asking them about, hey, are these donations affecting your votes? Well, I know why they won't ask them, because then they can't get them back on the show anymore.
No.
But, the point of journalism is to really dig deep, not throw a bunch of softballs up and create a safe place for senators. This isn't some little kid that's looking for their parents, and I need to create a safe place for them. You're a U.S. senator. You're accountable. You're supposed to be accountable to your constituents and to the American people. Mm-hmm. But when the American people ask you hard questions, what do? When you go home for recess, you don't do any town halls because you're scared that people are going to ask you questions. They cancel their town halls. They won't talk to their constituents. You can't even get, Jermaine says the point of journalism is money too. Unfortunately,
I was about to say that. Thank you, Jermaine.
And it's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. But
it's there now because I got to get my ratings up. I got to get my ratings up.
Well, because nobody reads the paper anymore. Papers are gone. Papers are dead. Everything's about digital subscriptions, people getting eyeballs on stuff and things like that. And I get that, but that's the wrong way. And see, that goes back to when I say about voting and stuff like that. How can people make informed decisions about voting when they can't get close enough to their elected officials to really figure out what their real intentions are? When then the media sits there and has these people in studio and they still can't get into those deep questions about, hey, how do you feel about climate? How do you feel about the criminal justice system? How do you feel about middle class, not wealth and wage gaps and stuff like that? How do you feel about racial injustice? All these different things, and dig into it. And when you see issues of whether they're getting money from lobbyists and outside sources, is that affecting your decision? Does that control the way that you vote?
Yeah.
Because, and I'll give you a perfect example of that, CJ. If you look at the state of West Virginia, most people are in favor of Joe Biden's agenda when it comes to aid for seniors, pre-K, free college. When it comes to some of the green stuff, they're in favor of this. But the senator that you elected to represent you isn't representing you. He's representing his stock portfolio.
Right.
So then they love to throw out the American people. You mean your donors. When you say the American people, stop. Say it like it really is.
You know what, Brian? What we really need? And especially when it comes to our politicians, right?
You need Senator BP.
No. Hold on, wait. Hold on, because you're about to take it from me. Because I think we're on the same page here. We need like a little truth bubble that just kind of like pops up. It's like the truth bubble translator. And so whenever they say certain things, it gives you the actual meaning of what they're really trying to say. And every time, so every time they talk code, you need a code breaker. And they'll say, I'm really concerned about my donors.
It reminds me of the movie Liar Liar when Jim Carrey couldn't lie. And he's sitting in court and he's saying, I can't say because I can't lie. And they're like, okay, well, that's good, right?
God.
Yes,
that's the perfect analogy.
And that was more satire too, because it's like the whole idea that lawyers.
There was a lot of truth in that lying ass movie, wasn't it?
A lot. A lot
of truth.
So I'm sure it's a bunch of liberals that do a lot of these damn shows and stuff like that.
But you know what? I love it. I love it all.
There's always little digs at social issues and things like that. Speaking of social issues, y'all, the NBA is having an issue right now because certain NBA players don't want to get vaccinated. And for Kyrie Irving in particular, in the state of New York, in the city of New York City, Brooklyn is New York City. The mayor has imposed a vaccination mandate that if you're going to be in the Barclays Center, you have to be vaccinated. And the Brooklyn Nets just so happen to play in the Barclays Center. So he can't play any home games because he ain't vaccinated. Now, understand this.
That's what the bench for.
There are 82 games. Well, if you're an owner, you don't want to hear that because there are 82 games.
All right.
41 of those games are played at home and 41 are played away.
Okay.
So half of your games will not be in the Barclays Center, but the other half will. Now, he'll miss even more because they also play a team called the New York Knicks, who play in Manhattan, which is New York City.
Yes, sir.
So not only will he miss his 41 games in Brooklyn,
but also
he'll miss the handful of games that they play against the Knicks.
Yes.
So
that's always a big game too.
Yes. So, and the NBA released a statement basically saying, listen, if unvaccinated players are not following their local guidelines where there's mandates and stuff like that, they will not be paid for those games that they miss.
Absolutely.
So
that's on you, bro.
So the funny thing, so
my heart don't break, bro. Listen,
he's a millionaire. Yeah, but here's the funny part. I'm gonna get to the social part of this.
Okay.
Because I don't give a damn about whether Kyrie Irving plays any game.
Okay.
I do think it's kind of jacked up that you got the owner by the what's, because he's paying you to play 82 games whether you do or not. However, I already have a problem with that because a lot of players sit out games because they need to have some rest. But back in the old Jordan and Patrick Ewing days and Charles Barkley, they didn't take off games. But anyway, I digress. Maybe they should have. But getting to the social part of this, so Senator Ted Cruz, one of the biggest opportunists in the Senate, jumps all over the Kyrie Irving story and says, "I support Kyrie Irving. I support Bradley.
You don't even know who he is.
I support. Oh man, my man at Golden State now. I'll think of his name in a second. I support all of them." And then he did a hashtag, "Your body, your choice." And I'm thinking,
no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
So
no, sir. Because do we not have an issue with our women folk?
So in the state of Texas,
he literally just take off his foot
in the state of
Texas, put it in the air and just went kaboom.
The state of Texas,
the very
recently passed
that you're fighting women on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. With the abortion law. Absolutely.
Dude, you're gonna have to pick a struggle.
Do you see what I'm saying? How in the hell do you hashtag your body, your choice, and you are all in for an abortion ban?
Yes, with the secret, how it was pushed through.
I love it. Hold on, let me join you.
Make that make sense,
please.
It's the same way that he thought about it when actually they had that big winter storm and it knocked out the grid in Texas, and he had to go on vacation in Mexico with his family.
Yeah. No time like right now. Most people got a plan for a vacation.
No time like right now.
He said, "Shit, let's go." And then
that's
the
when
little
you're
coward,
supposed to be down in the
little
trenches.
Coward blamed
that's
it on
when you're supposed to be down in the trenches with your peoples, bro.
Yeah, well, he blamed it.
That's how you know you down for us.
But CJ, he blamed it on his daughters. He said, "Hey, I'm just trying to be a good dad." Yeah. He said, "I'm trying to be a good dad."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. A convenient dad, Disney dad. Okay, sure.
So my thing is listen. These are the same NBA players that you talk so much crap about because they took a knee.
Brian,
about a social issue.
Stop.
Yes. These are the same
because sports platform is not the right platform to do your political views.
So these are the same people that you tell to shut up and dribble. Unless it's Drew Brees who tells you that he don't support taking a knee. Oh, bravo, Drew. But soon as it's these little darkies, I didn't say black, dark.
Listen, you just still trying to be like that. You trying to be like a Hershey's Kiss. That's what you trying to say.
Listen,
you like
I'm not gonna say that's what I call myself, but I will say I have been called that.
Anyway.
Yeah, with a big old almond in the middle.
Just keeping it real. Well, there's some nuts for sure, but anyway.
Big old almond in the middle.
Yeah. Anyway, boy, I tell you, I'm sorry, everybody. This segment has been sponsored by Haterade. See Lori for supplies. Anyway.
Listen, don't talk about hateration.
Commercial.
Do not go there. I'm gonna say
commercial is coming soon. Commercials coming soon for Haterade. Get it while you can before Lori drinks it all.
Oh no, I'm gonna share it with you. Oh, no. I'm going to share it with you.
Seems like she's well on her way. She might be a little tipsy from some haterade. How about it?
Man.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway.
Man, oh, man.
And, well, I just kind of wanted to bring that up. I know we got to wrap up and everything for another week of head-to-head. As always, we have some very interesting conversations and debates. And if you're watching, you can always tune in every Thursday, 6 p.m. You can join us on our live chat where you can send comments, questions, or anything else to us. Or if you feel froggy and you want to jump into the ring and fight me, come on in. I'll DM you the link and you can join the show. Make sure your hands are bigger than these right here, though, because you ain't going to win with that. But yeah, and if you are an artist, if you are if you have a book signing coming up, you've just written a book or anything like that, we'd love to have you on the show as well. If you know someone that fits that category, even if it's not you, please reach out to them. We definitely want to be able to give back to the community, have people on, let us know about some of the things that they have working on as well. The show is simply not just about the three of us and our other panelists, but it's about everybody. We want to be able to have head-to-head, be a show that where you can just say what you got to say. It don't matter if everybody else agree with you or not, because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be right is me anyway. So no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, let me thank my my panel here, Lloyd Parker, CJ Jones. We really appreciate y'all. Look forward to seeing y'all again next week. Until then, y'all take care. Bye, Lori. Bye, CJ. Y'all be good. Hold on. I got to find my outro. Okay, I got it. Peace.
This is ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.